You know, I had a very emotional reaction. I told you.
Okay. Okay.
Now, I think I have said that I don't necessarily, that not, well, it wasn't pertaining to just this particular case, so I guess.
Okay. Something in general?
Just in general.
Okay. Now tell me, this Facebook page, this page actually has, that you're talking about that you joined, it has documents on it regarding the case, correct?
I think news articles and stuff, yeah.
Okay. Do you remember that it actually had the video of the probable cause hearing on it?
I didn't see that if it did. Not that I remember. I
Okay.
don't remember seeing any court proceedings.
Do you remember seeing that there were crime scene photos on it?
No, I haven't seen any photos.
Okay. Do you remember that there were any on it?
No, I don't remember that. No.
Okay.
I feel like if I had seen that, I would certainly remember.
Okay. Do you remember that they had posted documents like warrants and motions that had been filed in the case and juror questionnaire from the trial?
I don't remember seeing any of that. The only things I remember are just like news articles.
Okay. And how about a timeline that was posted on it? Did you ever see the timeline that was on that web page?
I don't remember that, no.
Okay. And I know this has been a while, so I'm not trying to, yeah, you're not in any trouble or anything. I know it's just human nature sometimes to want to be fair, to want to, you know, everybody wants to think they can be fair and put things out of their mind. But we've got to find jurors that can be fair to both sides and make sure we've got the whole picture, okay? Okay. Were you aware that your account is still active on that page?
No, I thought I had left the group that morning, so I don't know why that was doing.
Okay.
I mean, I just don't know about anything like that.
Okay. Were you aware that you had actually posted an opinion about what type of sentence he should get?
I didn't remember if I did. I mean, I'm really not trying to lie to y'all.
No, I understand. I understand.
I just don't remember it.
Okay. Were you aware that you actually voiced an opinion that he actually did do it intentionally? You thought he did?
You know, I had a very emotional reaction. I told y'all that when it first happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that I did have a very emotional reaction to it. You know, I'm trying to be fully honest. I offered the information that I was part of that group, and I'm not trying to hold back anything. But like I said, it's been enough ago. I've had babies since then. I've had 3 kids.
Okay.
You know, I just don't remember, you know, if I did. And if I did, I did, and I'll own it. But I did not tell you intentionally.
Okay. Just to be fair with you, if I showed you, you know, some of the printouts, would that refresh your memory about what opinions you actually voiced?
I could look at it and see that I said it. But
Yes,
I'm not
ma'am.
necessarily going to remember that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd be glad to look at it if you want me to. But
okay. Your Honor,
if I remembered it, I'd tell you I remembered it.
Absolutely. And Your Honor, I'm going to mark for identification purposes as State's Exhibit, I think it's J4. Yes. Okay. And I've given an exact copy to the defense in this case. Or juror, sorry.
Okay.
Juror 20. Okay, showing the first page, this is a stack of pages from screenshots of Facebook printouts. Looking at this first page, is that your home page?
Yes.
Okay. And so this is your page, Facebook and everything like that, correct? Okay. And looking on further in it, is this the actual Facebook group that you joined?
I don't remember this picture being there, but it looks like that's the name of the, yeah.
It says Justin Ross Harris Trial Watch.
Yeah.
And that's overlaid on a picture of the victim in the case.
No, I've never seen that picture, but that's the name of the group.
Okay. And looking at the name of the group, as we go through it here, there are comments here to make sure this is you, where it says Heather Stevens Downs. Is that you having commented? Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a copy of this so you can go along. I'm going to ask you to turn to certain pages.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't lie to y'all intentionally.
No, ma'am. No, and again, this is what we're doing is because we can't find out later and we have a problem.
I completely understand and I'm completely
okay. Here is
willing to do whatever.
That's J4.
I just hate that I didn't remember.
Okay.
But like I said, you know, I had an emotional reaction, and I do have a tendency. When the judge said that day about shooting off your mouth, that hit home with me.
Yeah, and that's what, ma'am, I know, because you didn't tell us anything about opinions on sentencing or intent or anything like that, so that's why we need to get that out there to make sure we have the whole thing. Okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 7th page.
Okay.
And then you commented about halfway down, if you see that, where it says, you commented, I don't support the death penalty, but I hope he gets as much time as they can give him. Mm-hmm. Okay, and that was your post from your account, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I do see that.
All right. I'm going to ask you now to turn to page... Whoop.
Lord have mercy, help.
Take your time, it's okay. I think this is going to be the 10th page.
This is 7, right?
Yes, ma'am. This was another post. Somebody had posted something and you commented about 3 comments down. Do you see that where it says, this case boggles my mind? Am I on the right page?
Yes, I see.
Okay. And in that post on September 4th, 2014, this case boggles my mind. I have a 10-year-old and an 11-month-old, and there are many times that I get out of the car and there is tons of stuff to take in, and I have a million things going on in my mind, but not once have I forgotten one of my kids.
Right.
I just do not understand it. And that's, yes, ma'am, and that's consistent with what you told us before, correct? Okay. Now going down, I think if you turn to the next page, your next comment, the whole thing is on the next page.
Yes, sir, I see it.
Okay. And on that statement on September 4th, 2014, you followed up, in my mind, although I think he knew what he was doing, I don't think the punishment should be less for, quote, forgetting. When you have a child, you are agreeing to take care of that child and to be responsible for that child. Quote, I forgot, unquote, wasn't an adequate excuse to get out of homework in school. Why in the world would be an adequate excuse when taking care of your child? And you posted that on that day, correct?
Yes, I do see that.
Okay, and so on that you actually voiced that you did not think forgetting a child was an excuse, correct?
Well, and you know, and I've said,
Mm-hmm.
I have come out and said that I don't understand why anyone could forget their child.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I mean, that's,
Yes, ma'am.
I could see you say at the time, especially with the emotional reaction I had to the whole thing.
Absolutely. Okay.
I just wish I had remembered it, but I wasn't trying to hide it.
No, and I understand, ma'am, and that's why I'm giving you this to refresh your memory on it, okay? The next comment starts at the bottom of the page, but I think the full comment is on the next page. If you turn the next page.
Yes, sir, I see it.
Okay. And on that comment, you talked about
we have page numbers?
Oh, I'm sorry, this would be 11, the 11th page, Judge.
I see it.
And in this one, you said, I'm not saying the punishment shouldn't be more for something intentional done. What I'm saying is the punishment shouldn't be less for forgetting in quotes.
Yeah.
That forgetting shouldn't automatically get you the lesser of a sentence. Like you shouldn't just get probation because you forgot. You still need to serve jail time for that murder. Understand there are different sentences for premeditated and not, but some of these people get off with a slap on the wrist for claiming it just slipped their mind, and I can't support that.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay. The next comment is on this same page, about 3 comments down. You stated, I don't think forgetting should warrant death, but I do think it warrants some jail for murder. Obviously, I think he did this on purpose and deserves the punishment for that. I just don't think we should ever allow forgetting to be some kind of excuse, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, and I know it's been some time since you posted this, but as, yes ma'am, but as last Thursday, basically it's different looking at this than what you said last Thursday now that you've looked at it, correct?
Right.
You did give an opinion as to whether he did it intentionally and about sentencing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And ma'am,
I hate when you want to think that I was intentionally being dishonest, because that's not something I want.
I understand. And if you're a Facebook user, and if you're still active and show up as a member of that group, that would you would agree that looking at that, and you never left the group, did you?
Yes, but I did.
Okay.
I really did. Like that morning when I saw that it said that, I even told my husband, I was like, oh, I just have to leave this group.
Okay.
Like, I'm not lying about that. I really did.
Okay.
Maybe I hit unfollow instead of unjoin on accident, but I haven't seen any updates, and I was, you know, like,
Okay.
I offered that information to you. I would have offered that information to you. I was lying.
Yes, ma'am. And you understand, I'm sorry we have to go through this, but
you guys can look, you know.
What's that?
I mean, I know you guys could check that out. It would be really stupid for me to offer that information and be telling a lie.
Yes, ma'am. And that's why we brought you back in here to confirm that what you said last week, it's different when we actually look at it, right?
I haven't looked at anything.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you.
For the defense.
Good morning. All right, when you were in here last week, you disclosed to us that you were part of this Facebook group. And the documents that you've been given there, that is the face group that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. And if it shows in there that you joined in September of 2014, does that sound about right?
I mean, yeah, I guess that's what, you know.
And what you were shown to review there, those posts were from that month, it looks like, September 2014?
Yes.
You haven't posted anything to that group since September 2014, have you?
I don't think so. I mean, I just forgot I was even part of it.
Uh-huh.
You know, I mean, I hate to say that, but I don't know. I mean, not that I recall.
Right. I mean, do you remember everything that you posted or liked over the last 2 years?
Sure.
Of course
I mean,
not.
I just don't.
Of course you don't. Did you intentionally try to mislead this court?
I really didn't. I mean, I could tell you the exact, I was standing in my bathroom when that came up on my phone, getting ready to come to jury duty that day when I left that group. I mean, I can see it in my mind.
Okay, so when you're saying that you left the group, you were talking about leaving that group when you got your summons or the morning that you were coming to court?
Well, see, I had forgotten I was part of it, right? Because, you know, sometimes things don't show up on your news feed.
Right.
You know, like, I may follow this person or that person and have to go to their page to see what's going on because you don't always see it. So I forgot all about it. Well, I guess they posted an update that jury selection was starting in Brunswick. And I was like, oh goodness, you know, because if this is the case, you know, I thought we were coming for many different cases. I didn't know what we were coming for exactly. I thought, if this is the case, you know, it's probably not appropriate for me to be part of this Facebook page.
Right.
You know, just in case, you know, so I left it. I
All right.
did.
So, and by leaving it, and I'm not a big Facebook user, but I know that you can unlike things. Is that what you think you did?
I mean, I just can't even believe I was, because I'm just so sure that I left the group. But,
Okay.
I mean, I guess it's possible maybe I clicked unjoin or unfollow.
Okay.
You know, but I mean, I stood there and made a point to do that. That's
Right.
something that I know that I did.
And then you said that you temporarily shut your Facebook page down
Right.
on the Friday after you had been here?
Right. Because I just didn't want to see, you know, somebody, I'd heard there were some things in the Brunswick News, and I have a lot of people that will post news articles from the news, and I took it very seriously that I didn't want to see anything, because I knew that I had known some things that I've forgotten. I didn't want anything to jog my memory or bring anything back. You know, I just wanted to keep that bubble, as the judge had said.
Okay. And you did not intentionally reactivate your page. You're saying it did it automatically because of the way that you paused it.
You can hit, like, I'm going to be back or whatever, and I did log on maybe two or three days ago to get a picture from my wedding to give to a friend who's planning her wedding. I had done my own table arrangements. And all you have to do to reactivate your account is log back in, and I got that picture, and I deactivated it again. But I guess it counted from the first deactivation because I got the notice when I logged into my Netflix account yesterday, the picture was back up.
Okay.
Because it does the picture that's on your Facebook page as the picture, you know, like it'll have like my husband's account picture and mine, and, you know, I have one for my kids for different shows. So I knew it had reactivated itself because the picture was back up.
Okay.
And so I was thinking, well, it must have gone from the first reactivation through that 7 days rather than the one I was, you know, when I deactivated it again after I got
All
a
right.
picture.
So if we, independent of you telling us, if we have evidence that your Facebook page shut down Friday of last week and then has since come back online, you're telling us that's exactly how it happened.
Yeah, like I've logged in that time to get that picture. I think maybe I logged in one more time to get something.
Okay.
But yeah, basically it's been off, and then now it's back on.
All right. And you certainly didn't do that under some nefarious motive to try and hide anything from anyone, did you?
No, because, I mean, really, the internet, everything is there.
Mm-hmm.
And all y'all would have to do is call me back and ask me, I'll give you the password.
Okay.
I'm not trying to hide anything. If you want me, you do. If you don't, you don't. And that's fine, but I'm not trying to hide anything.
Okay. All right. So basically, what we talked about this morning, you told us about being a member of this group. You just simply did not recall that you had posted some opinions over, roughly 2 years ago.
Well, I knew that I had posted some opinions, but I just didn't remember. I didn't remember the content being so strong.
Okay.
I don't when you first hear about something, you react a certain way, and after a while, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just didn't remember that my opinions were so strong.
And going back over these, you're not.
But I did say, I did tell y'all that I had judged harshly, and that I had realized, there's a difference when you read something in the paper and you judge someone. So I mean, it's not that I had amnesia and didn't remember my emotional reaction to it. I just didn't remember that I had posted those things. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And you're not. You told us about this. You just don't remember that you had posted a strong opinion at the time.
Yeah, I was just trying to be honest.
Okay. All right. And some of these things that these posts that you made regarding forgetting is no excuse. That was your opinion in September of 2014.
Yeah, I had almost a 1-year-old daughter. I had a baby at the time, and I'm not going to say that I can fully understand it. I'm not going to sit here and say that my pendulum has swung in the opposite direction, and now all of a sudden, that I can understand it. But I can say that I understand that I don't know all the facts. And that my opinion is not the same as, based on what you see in evidence. I understand. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, like I said, that my pendulum is completely swung in the opposite direction. I didn't remember my words being that, so forceful and harsh.
Do you have any life experiences as a parent over the last 2 years that might impact the opinion that you posted in September of 2014?
I don't know in what way.
Well, in any way, you've been a parent of a young child the last 2 years.
I understand a little more now. I'm not going to say that I understand all things, but I understand that. Like when my daughter was little, I was getting her out of the bath one night and carrying her through to the living room, and I went to pull the door and I almost shut her foot in the door. That would have been horrendous. Like if I would have pulled that door full strength and her foot would have got caught in that, that would have been awful. I understand that parents make mistakes and that, certain things can happen. I'm not going to say that I can fully understand some things. I'm not going to lie and say that I can. But I can say that I understand as a parent, you're not foolproof. You're not Superman, and you can't always protect them, and you can't, things happen even when you're right there.
Right.
So in that way, I can say I've got more experience as a mother.
Right. And one of the opinions that, and this is from September the 4th, by the way, the ones that Mr. Boring read to you, when you indicated that basically, even if it's as far as you're concerned, forgetting is the same as murder. And was that your opinion in September of 2014?
I guess that was, my opinion at the time. Like I said, I didn't react very emotionally to it. Because, when I heard about it, I thought about my daughter. And what that would have been, for her. And like I told you, and it made me so scared. that to this day, like I put stuff in the back seat with the kids, and I think that's part of the reason I reacted so emotionally, because I wanted to know that can't happen to me. Like, no, that can't happen. You know, like to distance myself, even though I still put stuff in the back seat. You know, so I'm not gonna lie, I did have an emotional reaction. I just did not remember those specific comments, and I do apologize for that because, you know, like I said, I'll give y'all my Facebook password. I am not trying to hide anything. I'm not trying to lie under oath and have God upset with me. You know, full disclosure. That's why I told y'all about the group, because it was on my conscience. You know, I wanted y'all to know that I had been part of that group.
You seem a little bit embarrassed that you're having to come back and answer these questions.
I just feel, you know, I just would hate for someone to think that I lied on purpose.
Yeah.
You know, that's not.
And let me just sort of get to it and just ask you straight up. Did you lie on purpose?
Oh, I really didn't.
Okay. You told us about the group. You told us you were a member of the group. You told us you had posted some comment. You just couldn't remember what comments you had posted.
Right.
Okay. Is that the truth?
It is the whole truth.
Okay. The opinions that you held then, I'm just going to be real straightforward with you. When we talked to you last week, you didn't give us any indications that you had opinions as strong as what we're reading here that your opinions were in September of 2014.
Right.
Okay.
I just did.
Are those your opinions now?
No, sir.
Okay. I think it's a fair question to...
I mean, now I will say, and I will be straight up honest about this, you know, especially at this point, because we hear about these kids getting left in these cars every summer. We hear about it every summer. Now, I don't think necessarily that if you forget your child in the car, you know, there shouldn't be any kind of repercussions whatsoever. I'm not going to sit here and say that. You know, that if if that happens, that you should just walk away scot-free. You know, that's the general that I was just saying. You know, it wasn't necessarily just this case. And every summer, I, you know, will tell people, like, you know, don't leave your kid in the car. You know, pay attention. You know, I pound my own husband. You know, because this was the first time I ever heard of that happening. But now you hear about it, you know, at least once or twice a summer. And there are all these initiatives going, you know, to help people remember. So I will say, you know, that I do have certain feelings about, I don't know how it would work or how, you know, but I do, you know, I do kind of think, maybe people need to stop doing that. You know, I mean, we do need to find a way to help people not do that.
Well, just as a follow-up on what you just said, I mean, is it your opinion that every time a child is left in a car, even if it's on accident and forgetting, then it's murder?
You know, I would have said that then. I probably would have said that then. I mean, looking at those comments, you know, I do, you know, remember my emotional reaction to the case. I read some time ago about a father who had left his daughter in the car and she had died. And that account really stuck with me because he seemed so sincerely just broken over it. And I really thought, well, you know, and I think that that's one of the reasons I still put my bag in the back of the car, because it made me kind of think, maybe it can happen, you know, because he was the first story I'd heard of where he seemed really just broke. You know, he was telling it to tell other people, you know, don't do this, don't let this happen to you. You know what I'm saying? So I guess I would say maybe it would depend on the circumstance. I don't know. I guess it would depend on the circumstances on what happened.
And by circumstances, you mean evidence?
Right.
The evidence that will come from the court.
Right.
Okay. So.
And look, I don't have any, and I'll tell y'all this too, and maybe I'm running my mouth too much, but I don't have any, you know, part of me is apprehensive if I were to get picked for this jury, because I know there are things I'm going to be exposed to I'm never going to be able to forget. So I'm not trying to weasel my way on this jury for some weird, like, purpose. If I'm not picked, that's okay. If I'm picked and that's God's will for me to be there, that's okay too. See what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
So, you know, whatever it is whatever. I'm just trying to be honest.
Okay.
formally tender the document. I don't think I did that.
No, you have not.
Just to verify with that, ma'am. Looking at other.
I'm sorry, I mixed it up when I
No,
tried to
that's
say it.
okay. That's okay.
Apologize.
Let me find the first page.
I should have
Mr.
seen that
Barnes, there's a
before.
page on the floor right there.
Oh,
Oh, it's not back here, is it? It's under the chair.
It's probably the cover page when I'm
Yes,
looking for it.
I can't see it.
You got it. I'll get it. I'll get it.
I see, I got it.
Let me get you. Thank you, ma'am. All right, just looking at it, let me flip through and try to find this one page just to confirm. Okay, looking at this page, I don't have a page number, let me go through it, make sure I got it clear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Would be the 24th page in this packet. Now that's showing as of when this was printed, you were still a member of the group, correct?
I just don't understand.
And yeah, I know, and I understand maybe you hit something by accident and things like this, but that does reflect you being a member, correct?
It does.
Okay. And looking at, if you look through it, you see, there have been posts after this, correct? After you commented, like in the months and years after that?
There could be, like I said, I just don't remember.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. I believe, Your Honor, at this time I would tender State's Exhibit
4.
J4.
Any objection?
No, ma'am.
Admitted.
Thank you.
Anything else to be done with this juror
No, Your Honor, not from the state.
from the defense?
Just one question. Do you see and read every single post that comes to your Facebook feed?
No, sir. Like I said, sometimes I have to search things out because my feed is very busy with family and friends and that kind of thing.
Okay. So just because something may have been posted by this group doesn't necessarily mean that you would have ever seen it unless you actually went to that page looking for it.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything further?
No, Judge.
I'm going to excuse you again. Thank you for coming up on such short notice. We very much appreciate that.
Now, did y'all want me to go back and make sure that I left the group or do anything? Was there any instructions that you want from me?
Well-
So I'm not doing anything I'm not supposed to?
Those are your decisions to make.
Okay.
What I would
still
tell
want
you,
it to look like I went back and looked at it.
well,
You know, I don't want to do anything I'm not supposed to do.
I'm not, this is what I'm going to tell you. Come back October 3rd at 9 a.m.
Okay.
And bear in mind my prior instructions. And I thank you so much for coming up here on absolutely extremely short notice.
No problem. Thank y'all so much.
Yes, ma'am. I hope you do too. All right. Is there anything further to be done?
Nothing as far as evidence or anything, Judge?
Well, I assume that.
Sorry.
Sorry. So is there anything further to be done?
Yes, Judge. The state would make a motion to strike that juror. I think if the defense is opposing this, they are inviting error in this case. This is something where we've had motions to strike for cause by the defense on people who had generalized opinions about the guilt or innocence of the defendant, generalized opinions about the evidence and somebody's ability to forget and things like that. And I think whether she was lying or not, in this case, we have somebody who did not tell us initially. She just said, I gave an opinion as to how does this happen? How does this happen? She not only did that, she talked about specific sentencing of this defendant. She talked about specifically saying that he did this intentionally, and she specifically talked about, even if it was forgetting, it's still murder. Judge, so I think my opening remarks are that I think that it's inviting some type of appellate issue on the defense's part if they are not agreeing that this is a strike for cause, given what she has said in the past, and are agreeing that she didn't say that at first.
What appellate issue are you talking about? Effectiveness?
Ineffective assistance of counsel.
Okay. Well,
Yes,
all right.
I'm sorry, Judge. I
No,
think
no,
that
that's fine. We're on the same page.
Yes, Judge. Sorry.
But why don't you go ahead and say what you're saying since I interrupted?
Okay, yeah, I was going to say that, yes, it would be ineffective assistance of counsel, even if they sit here today it is such an obvious thing that if a jury comes back, she's a part of it, and they convict, then we'll be sitting here at a motion for new trial and having to argue whether this was objectively reasonable or unreasonable and things of that nature. And I think because of, I think she used the terms forceful and harsh, things like that, and agreed that she had said forgetting is murder. And I think that in and of itself, I think she should be removed for cause out of an abundance of caution, because if we leave her in this jury pool, that's a recipe for disaster.
I'm ready for your argument.
I think that this juror expressed some opinions in September of 2014, and to the extent they are opinions which obviously are not favorable to the defense, I don't like it. I don't like those opinions. But those were opinions 2 years ago. We've had lots of jurors that have come in and said that they have had opinions in the past and changed their mind. And that's why we've got those magic words that we keep hearing from the state: fixed and definite. Are your opinions so fixed and definite that you can't set those opinions aside? We didn't hear those words. In fact, we didn't even hear those questions from the state here. She may be opinionated, she may be somewhat talkative, but there's one thing she's not, and that's a liar. She told us that she belonged to this group, that she had been a member of it and commented, and the fact that she couldn't remember something that she posted over 2 years ago is hardly remarkable. I appreciate the state exercising its right to invoke a Sixth Amendment claim for us before trial, but I'll put on the record now, it is absolutely a strategic decision. After talking to this lady on 2 occasions, it is a strategic decision of ours that we're not going to ask that she be struck. We think she's been overly honest. And that's the kind of juror that anybody wants on a case, the state or the defense. Sorry. And so for those reasons, Judge, she was brought in to see if there was an issue with candor with the court. I think I'm certainly satisfied that she has explained any inconsistency in what she said a couple of days ago. Oh yeah. And I think it's real clear, just like all these other jurors we asked, can you set your opinion aside? Well, she's not only indicating she could set her opinion aside, she's saying she doesn't even really have that opinion anymore. So I don't think it's close at all. We've got no reason to strike her for cause.
Judge, I'm definitely stating the veracity is in question, whether she's lying or not. I'd cite, Your Honor, to Smith versus the State, which is 335 Georgia Appeals 497 2016 case, holding that where the veracity of the juror is in question at some point, it is proper to excuse if there is a possibility that there is a lack of candor to the court. This isn't something minor. I would say, Judge, I don't remember her ever talking about this, reading an article about a father when she testified the first time. Now she's offered that up. She's read about a father who this had happened to since the time she actually testified the first time under oath. I think that, first of all, she hasn't left the group. There's no evidence she left the group. She is still there, and we called her on it. These aren't minor issues for which she told the judge, told Your Honor something different. She said specifically, my only opinion is to how could somebody do this? And you saw her talk. She is not, if she's going to say it, she's going to say it. no other opinions. And then specifically, she had formed other opinions, harsh, forceful opinions, forgetting his murder, specific issues about this case and sentences for this case, and whether he had done this intentionally. Judge, I think it's obvious from her demeanor in court, she's trying to get on this jury. And again, I think allowing her to continue on is not appropriate under the everything we have here in court.
All right. Mr. Kilgore, you need to confer with your client. He's going to have to state on the record his position about this juror.
Okay. You don't want to struck, do you? No. He don't want struck.
Well, he needs to say so.
All right. Stand up, Ross. Tell the judge you don't want this juror struck.
Yes, Your Honor, I do not want this juror struck.
All right, be seated. That's not totally determinative, but it bears on the consideration. Well, certainly what's happened in court and what happened several days prior concerning this juror supports a peremptory challenge from either side. The state's concern about appellate issues have been resolved by the defendant's statement after conferring with counsel that he does not want her struck, and having heard what the defense has said about it, supports that should, an effectiveness, if it's strategy, if it's counsel's strategy, it would not support an ineffective assistance of counsel problem. So I'm not going to strike for cause Juror 20, and I deny the state's motion regarding Juror 20 to strike her for cause. I note the state's exception to the court's ruling.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, is there anything further today from the state? We can probably get into the courtroom.
No, Your Honor.
Is there anything further from the defense?
No, ma'am.
All right. Until October 3rd, 9 a.m. for jury selection.